Hello everyone, I'm Gemma Beall. Welcome to Beyond Second Cognition. Today I want to talk about communication, but not the communication that we Earth humans don't know how to do with each other, but the communication that we do with our Soika and with our crew out there. The New Age has painted a very large picture that communication with non-Earth humans or consciousnesses is done through the method of channeling. While channeling in and of itself as a communication style isn't bullshit as it is not being done, it is bullshit in that it is something wholesome and beneficial to the conscious elevation of our species. Not every one of our subscribers is familiar with communications, or in Gemma terms, comm, nor are they familiar with channeling. So for all of us to be on the same page, I'm going to define some terms. What is channeling? Channeling is a process that a human host moves their waking conscious awareness aside and allows another non-Earth human consciousness to use their physical bodies to communicate. This is typically done by either automatic writing or the host body speaking verbally. You can Google channeling and find hundreds, if not thousands, of human channelers in the New Age and the messages they have obtained for humanity from the hive. Although they say it's from Metatron or Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel or blah blah blah. You know what I mean. Do I personally channel other beings? Fuck no. And I will explain why after the vocabulary lesson. Our next vocabulary term is telepathy. Telepathy is defined as the supposed communication of thought or ideas by means other than the known senses. In my definition, it is the direct verbal communication of thoughts and ideas through audio occurrences that happen within the mind of a person with a telepathic trait. Not everyone is telepathic, and not all telepaths pick up every signal, but that's a topic for another time. Next, we have the term empath. Oh, this one's funny. Anyone who's read my book or have watched our empath versus sympath video will know that I've searched long and hard in the external world for information on this empathic trait and found no answers. So I found my own within. But just now, I looked to see if finally a definition had been derived, and this is what I found, and I'm reading it verbatim. Chiefly in science fiction, a person with a paranormal ability to apprehend the mental or emotional state of another individual. Oh man, that's a real knee slapper. My personal definition is an empath is a person whose physical body is highly sensitive to the emotional energetic emissions of another person. I don't define it as more than that because the devil is in the details, and it ranges so widely by the individual person that the simple definition covers its basis for understanding. Next, energetic sensitivity. This is not necessarily a term, but it is something that is different from the empathic trait in that some people's physical forms are sensitive to energy, though they are not empathic. Next is nuance. Nuance, as I defined in my video, Soika Remembering Memories and Implanted Memories, my definition is picking up and interpreting what is not conveyed through words. The last term I want to bring to everyone's attention is a new Soika word. But before I introduce the word for you, I want to give thanks to our Soika friend Kat for her brilliant typos. We, a Soika crew here, have been looking for quite some time to come up with a better term for the word feel in regards to the Soika path. When we say feel, most people equate it with emotional feelings, and the two are not the same thing. Soika feel is straight up Soika sensory input that goes way above the 5 known physical form senses, including emotions. So the new word we're going to be using moving forward in lieu of feel is kapoople. Kapoople is one of the most important aspects of doing comm, as you will see as I move forward with this. The New Age works very hard to convince a lot of people that anyone can be a channeler. And to be quite honest, this is true. Anyone can be a channeler because it takes 0 traits in the form or any skill to allow your consciousness to be shoved aside to let some other asshole consciousness use your body. All it takes is willing agreement. There is no skill whatsoever involved in the process. Real comm, on the other hand, is a bitch to learn. It takes skill, it takes practice, hard work, and one doesn't have to be telepathic or empathic to learn to do comm, though it does take patience, self-trust, and a clean slate where filters are concerned, because doing real comm work, you have to become a translator, even if the messages you receive are only for yourself. Endell's latest video, The Problem with Filters and Data Translation, describes this in great detail. I knew when I got on my path that I was empathic. I knew I also had telepathic traits. I did not come into my path wanting or expecting to be a channeler, but I can't say that the idea didn't appeal to me at first, but the reason I did not attempt to go that route is because it didn't kapoople right with me. In my book, The Energy Experience, I talk about my communication style and how long it took me to get verbal communication with my guides. But you want to know something? I had comm with them all along. It just wasn't presenting to me in the manner in which I expected. I was expecting verbal, in my mind, telepathic communication. I was expecting them to speak to me in my mind like I am verbally speaking out loud to you. That is why it took me 6 months of practicing every night to accomplish it. But is it necessary? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In looking back over my path this last year or so, I realized how much comm I was getting from my Soika and from crew out there that I never took in or realized I was getting because it wasn't wrapped in the package I wanted and needed it to be at the time. And working with others now, helping them foster and hone their Soika mode of operation where their comm is concerned, I realize that the traits I have really are irrelevant to the process of Soika communication. Endell and I have both talked about comm in our books and some of our videos, and I'm going to share a little story here. I do know that I am damn lucky to have the traits that I have, and the only reason I have them is to do what I came here to do. I chose a form that would have these traits so I could do my Soika job. If I didn't need them, I wouldn't have them, and I've learned the hard way what happens when one abuses them. Endell does not have these traits. He is not telepathic. He is not empathic, but he is energetically sensitive and highly intuitive and highly skilled with his kapoople abilities. But don't think for a second that he didn't have to work to hone these abilities. He has stated in a couple of our videos about others whining and crying about not having traits. He's not being a mean ass by saying that. He is sharing what he went through on his own path to get to the point of honing his abilities. For years, and I do mean that in the plural, I had to listen to him whine about not having abilities like mine and him beating himself up for not being able to accomplish it because his beliefs at that time were based on his stint in the New Age that had him convinced that he could make it happen by sheer will alone. The New Age cookie-cutter belief system, i.e. filters, does tend to make one think they can manifest things that they don't have, and how much time and energy is wasted on could be or might be instead of focusing time and energy on what is. Your what is not my what is, or Endell's what is, or anyone else's what is. But as long as you are setting limiting filters of what your what is might be, then you are impeding your own Soika capabilities and your growth. I cannot say what traits you do or don't have. If you're telepathic, you will know you are telepathic. If you're honest with yourself and you don't rely on a desire to be telepathic for mystical reasons. If you are an empath, you will know you are an empath in the same manner. If you are energy sensitive, you will know it. If you think you are any of these, more than likely you are not. So redirect your focus to where your true power lies, and that is within you, your Soika. I cannot say how your Soika or your Soika crew will present to you in an attempt to communicate with you, but I can say more than likely they will communicate with you in the methods they see fit to get your attention. It could be anything from random thoughts that fly through your head seemingly out of nowhere, to random feelings on the form that don't make any sense to your 5-sense array, to random beeping noises in your house when there is nothing there to beep, or even tonal ringing in your head or ears, or visual images that pop into your mind. Your comm abilities, whatever they are, begin when you purposefully and consciously make the choice to begin utilizing them and being open to how they present to you without expectations of what you think they should be. Lastly, and this is very important because of the New Age channeling shit, without fail, none of my crew out there, or even my Soika or any crew or Soika I've encountered, have ever just offered up information without questions. Never. They may show up and hang around in the periphery of your awareness to get your attention, but comm, direct or otherwise, has never occurred without me asking questions, specific questions. This doesn't mean that I didn't kapoople what they wanted to convey before I began asking questions, but asking the questions is the key to unlock the comm interface with them on a deeper level. If you remember nothing else, remember this as you remember to look both ways before you cross the street. The reason I do not and have never channeled any entity is because I have the traits that allow me to communicate with them as I communicate with you. I do not have to set my consciousness aside, nor will I, for any entity to speak to me or through me, and don't think the opportunity has not presented itself to me throughout my journey. Without fail, every entity that offered to share a message with me specifically requested to use my body as a channel, and when I stated that they could talk to me directly or not at all, they left when I wouldn't allow my consciousness to be set aside to get a message. Any being of impeccability will never ask you to set aside your consciousness to receive a message. A lot of people do use automatic writing as a tool to get and receive messages from their Soika because that is the only method they understand, and it is easier than working to develop this trait. But I will explain what makes it different than automatic writing as a channeled source. Automatic writing is the process of writing without thinking. The consciousness of the form is not set aside for the process to take place. It is allowing thoughts and ideas and even the Soika to relay messages in an easy manner. When a message is coming through this method and you are wide awake and remember the experience, it is not the same thing as using automatic writing to channel where you are not aware of the process and have no memory of it after the fact. But I will issue a warning on using this method even with your own Soika. The other side has often used human telepathic adepts to manipulate regular humans because it takes a hell of a lot of discernment to know the difference between a consciousness working with you and a telepathic intrusion by another human being. One doesn't have to be telepathic to be tampered with telepathically. This is one of the reasons for questions. Do not be afraid to question the being trying to communicate with you, and do not be afraid of questioning their impeccability. The impeccable ones won't be offended, but the ones hiding something will, and use your kapupple to tell the difference to make the determination. Another aspect of comm work that I want to point out to everyone working with crew out there or establishing your connections with your non-Earth crew is you have to understand, no matter how advanced you believe yourself to be, and I learned this one from experience, you are still an Earth human. No matter how much filter clearing you've done, you still have the filters of your Earth human experience. Your crew out there, more than likely, has not ever had an Earth experience or an experience that might be similar to your Earth experience. So keep in mind that the difference will be akin to going to a foreign land here on Earth and not speaking the language of the land and them not speaking your language. I think I've covered all that I could think of, so if you have questions for clarification, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments section. For those of you that are skilled at doing comm, if you have any tips or suggestions for our subscribers, please feel free to share so everyone can learn something. I want to thank everyone for listening and considering this information. Thank you to all our subscribers, and welcome to our new subscribers. For everyone doing the hard work to raise your awareness and advance your consciousness, stay the course and don't give up on yourself.